Hello friends, welcome back to Aunt Debbie's Boutique. Today we're going to make a different kind of pencil pouch and we're going to make it in vinyl. I made this one in canvas and it worked out real good, so you can use that. But just a cotton regular quilting weight fabric might be a little bit too thin because we're not going to line it. And then I made this out of a real heavy vinyl. It was a little more difficult to sew, but it worked out too. Today, we're going to make it out of a lightweight vinyl. I got this vinyl from Temu. I just wanted to see the quality of it, and besides being thin, it's fairly decent quality for the price anyway. You're going to need a heavy-duty needle if you're going to sew with vinyl. A cute little zipper pull if you want, that's optional. You're going to need a zipper that is that's at least about 12 inches long. And you don't want a metal zipper, you want the plastic teeth. We're going to need to cut out two sides that are 8 inches long by 3.5 inches wide. And I rounded the corners because I think it's a little easier going around the corners. These were a little sharper corners, but we're gonna do a little more rounded ones today. Okay, you're gonna need two 1.5 inch strips that are 10.5 inches long, one 3 inch strip that is 10.5 inches long. And you're going to need some clips for this because pins will leave holes in your vinyl. So we want to stay away from pins if we can. You're also going to need some zipper tape. It would be best. You could use the clips if you want, but I like using I say zipper tape. It's double-sided tape. And again, I cut a piece down the middle because mine's too wide. I went ahead and placed it on here. You'll notice there's little notches in the center of each one of these pieces. And there's also notches in the center of my zipper. I just folded them in half and a teeny tiny notch. These are a little bit bigger than they probably should be, but I want to make sure you saw them. I got a little carried away on the zipper. Those are almost too deep, but we'll just take a seam that covers it. So putting these little notches in there helps us line everything up and everything be square. Okay, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is pull off one of these zipper tape backings, and then I'm going to line my notches up and press down so it's attached to the zipper. I'm going to take it over the machine and I'm going to do about a 1/4 inch seam. I think I'll sew it from this side so I make sure I cover my notch since I cut a pretty deep notch. But about a 1/4 inch seam. You don't need a zipper foot unless you're trying to get right up next to it. And this really wasn't cut wide enough to get right up next to it. So I'll do that. Then after I sew it, I'm going to peel it back and I'm going to top stitch it. We can't iron vinyl, so top stitching really makes it look a little more finished when you're using vinyl. And then after I do that side, I'm going to come over here and stick this one down, sew it, and open it back up. So I'm going to do that all at one time at the sewing machine. Now that we've sewn our zipper on both sides, we want to attach our bottom to it. Stitch around here, then I'm going to bring this end down and stitch it around here. And the bottom piece is might be slightly shorter than the top, although they were cut the same length, but I've had this happen several times. I think the vinyl stretches a little bit when you put the zipper in. So let's stitch it here, and then we'll cut off our excess. Now we've sewed both ends, and I forgot to mention, you want to make sure your zipper is on this side, your zipper pull, because if it's out here once you've sewn it, you can't get it back in there. All right, so now we can trim the excess zipper. I'll trim off that little excess there. And then let's turn it right side out. Now I'm going to take it back to the machine and I'm going to top stitch it here and here away from the zipper. Now that we've top stitched both ends, since we can't iron it, that makes it lay nice and smooth, and the same with our zipper here. We want to go about 1 inch in from our seam, and we're going to clip almost 1/4 inch in, not quite because we don't want it to go through our seam. About every 1/8 of an inch, let's clip this for 1 inch to 1.5 inches. Same over here. This is so we can go around our curves. Okay, now let's turn it back right side's inside, or wrong side out. We also want to make sure our zipper's open about halfway. Now I'm going to take my the panel I'm going to use for the front, and I'm going to put one of my little brand labels on here. I get these from Warehouse Industries on Etsy, and it's spelled W-E-A-R. These are little cork labels. I think they cost me about $1 a piece. They have other options. I've got some wooden ones. They have to be hand sewn on. They just have wonderful customer service, and they put out a great product. So if you're looking for something to brand your stuff with, I highly recommend them. So now I'm going to just go stitch this on to my front panel. Now it's time to put our sides on our zipper, on the part that goes all the way around. So we want to make sure the zipper's on the top and your outside piece is facing up. And I'm going to match my notches here in the middle. And clip it. Looks like I didn't clip in far enough. That's because I made a bigger curve on this one than the last one. So let me clip it a little bit further in. And the purpose of that is to kind of fan it out as you're sewing and going around the curve. And so you want your slits to come in far enough for your seam, but you still want to catch your seam outside of that clip. It's not as hard to do as it sounds once you've got it fastened in place. See, I'll just stitch right on the inside of those clips. Yeah, I need a couple more this direction here too. Then I'll match up my notches again for the center. We'll just have to work in if there's any little excess. There shouldn't be much. I'm going to take this over to the machine and I'm going to stitch it all the way around now. Now that we've stitched that one side, we're going to do the exact same thing to the other side, and that's why you need to have this open at least halfway so you'll have a way of turning it. If you have it closed all the way, it's very difficult to get it open. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. And you can watch me stitch this one since I think I dropped the coverage, or I didn't turn the camera on the last one. Now that we've sewn all our seams, we're going to turn it inside out. My seams are slightly smaller than 1/4 inch because on this machine my presser foot's narrower and I haven't quite adjusted to that yet. So they're slightly smaller than 1/4 inch. But it doesn't matter how wide your seams are, just as long as you're consistent on both sides. Okay, here's our zipper pouch, but as you can see, since we can't iron it, it's not particularly square here. So what you can do is top stitch it. On this one, I top stitched on the inside, and those corners were boogers, especially with that thick vinyl. This one, I think I'm going to try top stitching it on this piece. And that's optional. You do not have to do that. With time, these seams are going to fold out just fine, but I like it to look real nice and neat from the start. So I'm going to make sure all my corners are pushed out nice and rounded, and I'm going to go top stitch mine, and you can watch and then you can decide whether you want to top stitch yours or not. Okay. Now see how much better that makes your seam so much crisper when you top stitch it, but it is kind of difficult to get in there. And you want to turn your seam allowance towards the side that you're top stitching on. That's what makes it a nice crisp seam. Let's do the other side. Here's our pencil pouch out of vinyl. I put a little zipper pull on there, and it's ready to go into a backpack or to keep whatever you want in it. I created this pattern at the request of my niece Leah, because she's in junior high now and she wanted something she could put in her backpack and not those flat kind of pencil pouches. So this was the kind she wanted. So that's why I came up with this pattern, and so we can thank Leah for it. I am going to create a written pattern with pictures and have it listed in my Etsy shop. So if you would prefer to have everything written down, it'll be just $2.50, and that's at AuntDebbiesBoutique.com, no apostrophe. Okay, thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you got something out of it. I would appreciate it if you would please like and subscribe. It helps me bring more videos. I seem to get a batch of subscribers ever so often and then not for a while. So I just appreciate each and every one of you that subscribes and views my channel. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Remember, whatever you do, do it to the glory of the Lord.